Hi, my name is Tiffany Bryson. I wanted to share my awesome testimony. I can truly say God changed my story on June 12th, 2020, while I was on vacation with my family in Panama City. I experienced a pop, then a sharp pain radiated all over my head. I had the worst headache ever. My whole body turned hot. My vision went blurry, and I had to have help balancing. After a few minutes, the feeling went away, but I still had a severe headache. As I continued to take Tylenol and Excedrin throughout the weekend for pain, I didn't want to ruin the trip for my family, so we stayed in Panama City until that Wednesday on the 17th. I couldn't take it anymore. My head was hurting so bad that every time I stood up or turned my head left or right, it hurt so bad. It even made me nauseated. So we decided to come home. When we got home, I immediately went to the emergency room here in Atlanta. When I went to the emergency room, they told me that I had a severe headache, which was a migraine. They ended up giving me a migraine cocktail. It worked briefly, and then the pain came back. They ended up discharging me and telling me that I needed to rest and to turn out all the lights and go to bed. The next morning, I still had an excruciating headache. I was nauseated, dizzy, and I could not sleep. So I tried to do what the doctor told me, and I stayed in bed all day. The following morning, I went to the hospital yet again. When I went, they told me I had vertigo, which they gave me things to do to help me sleep and pain meds. I went home yet another day. I closed my eyes and I went to sleep. I did not wake up until 2 p.m. the next day. I got up and I had to get to the hospital. So I went. A doctor came in and said he was going to try everything in his power to find out what was wrong. He ordered a head CT with contrast, a spinal tap, and an MRI. They first took me for the CT scan, and when I came back, they tried to do a spinal tap to no avail. As I sat waiting for the doctor to come back with the results, I turned on my music, and the first song that played was Jacqueline Carr's Changing My Story. I started getting into the song. I actually said to myself, God is changing my story. The doctor came in and looked at me with care. He asked me, how was I feeling? I said, okay. He then asked again. I said, I'm okay. What's wrong? He looked at me and looked at me again. I knew something was wrong. He began to check my blood pressure and my pulse again to see was I okay. Then he told me that I had a ruptured aneurysm. At that point, I was not supposed to be talking to him because I had an aneurysm a couple of days before. He began to tell me a ruptured brain aneurysms are fatal in about 50% of the cases. Of those who survive, about 66% suffer from permanent neurological deficit. Approximately 15% of people with a ruptured aneurysm die before reaching the hospital. Most of the deaths are due to rapid and massive brain injury from the initial bleeding. He told me that he had never seen anyone that survived for 8 straight days without medical attention. I was moving around, talking, singing, praying, all of that, and was very much alive. They immediately transported me to another hospital that specializes in neurology. They automatically put me in ICU. I didn't know the severity of my case until the doctor said that I was going straight into surgery. For them to put coils inside of my brain. After surgery, I was placed in ICU. The next 2 days were crucial. My blood pressure bottomed out, and my left side was very weak. I kept saying to myself, I am healed. I am healed in Jesus' name. They ended up doing 2 other angiograms. I also ended up having a vasospasm, which is a stroke. As I continued my stay in the hospital, I was puzzled, and I also puzzled the doctors. They kept coming in there telling me what I supposed to be going on and what's supposed to be going on and what's supposed to be wrong, but it wasn't. Only thing I had was a weak left side, and today I'm much stronger. I walked out of the hospital within a week with the doctors in amazement. I kept telling them it was only God who changed this story.